Howdy y'all, Gregos55 here, and I'm doing a vlog for change things up a little bit. Still working on the other video, but I wanted to make an announcement. It's not concerning the channel or nothing, but a period in my life, and I needed to get it off my chest. So what better way to put it on YouTube? But I said this is going to be a vlog, and this is part of my life, so here it is. I've been employed at a company for nearly 10 years. Now, that's a whole nother ball game, but the short version is a store of 30 some years in operation closed its doors, and I was one of the unlucky few. They let us know about it, and I'm not gonna give the lowdown about them. It is business. I hate it happened. We're all sad about it, me and my co-workers, but I'm laid off. I'm laid off from work. Nearly 10 years of service. I was a produce manager, and they shut the doors down. So I came to terms with that. I was gonna figure I can go on unemployment, and so I decided to take that route, and I went today to file that paperwork. And I tell you, I'm gonna be honest, some people might get mad at me, some not, but I will never, ever, ever, ever do unemployment again. I will not do it. It is absurd. So I'll tell the story. Went down to the unemployment office, and by the way, if you're watching this, I'm in Eastern Kentucky, so it might be different somewhere else. But I'm in Eastern Kentucky, so I go to the unemployment office, and by the way, the ladies there, fantastic. They helped me out. If they weren't there, I wouldn't have got as far as I did. So they did. As far as I'm concerned, the employees at this labor office was fantastic. It is the system that belongs to this state that is absolutely insane. So I walk in. It's roughly around 12 o'clock. Or no, I'm sorry, 1 o'clock, because they got back from lunch. And I said, I am in need of filing. My initial plan was to get as a displaced worker, so it might give me a chance to get hard on somewhere else while I job hunt, just to add another thing to the pot to make things better. They said they had to find the program, but they found it, and I filled a form out for it. And they said, would you like to go ahead and file for unemployment in case this thing doesn't work? Because they wasn't necessarily sure of the qualifications. I said, well, I'm here. I'll go ahead and file. Oh my God, it was so horrible. They had, and it wasn't them. I remind you now, it wasn't the employees. It was the system that Kentucky has made. It is a haranguement of hoops that are impossible for about someone to jump through. Someone else might be easier, but for a layman like me, it was stupidity at its finest. First, I had to fill out some more forms. Understand that. You need paperwork to file for unemployment. Well, some of the boxes, it had my name, address, social security number. I understand all that. But They wanted to know my race. Don't know why. And then they needed to know, can I speak English? I know some of this might be ridiculous, but to me it was foolish for a simple case of unemployment, especially if I've had very recent work experience. Are you a legal citizen of the United States? I hope I am. The stamp on my butt says I am. I'm kidding with that one. But I found it completely absurd for this. And then I got the paperwork filled out. Reasonable question, are you a veteran? No, I'm not a veteran. I don't qualify for that kind of work. And top notch to you guys who do it. So anyway, we get the 2 forms filled out for unemployment. And are you, what was the other question for it? It was, anyway, it was frustrating. Well, then they said, okay, now that you got your paperwork filled out, you're going to have to make an account on the Kentucky.gov site. Okay, that sounds reasonable, I guess, with today's technology era. I had to give over 5 security codes before I can even get to the part where I fill out to just put basic information in this site. Now, I know I'm not no technological brainiac, but something tells me for a simple case of unemployment, my common sense tells me that this is absurd. Why? It is just totally racking. Well, after I put 5 codes in, I had to wait for them to come into my phone via text, which each took 10 minutes. 10 minutes might not be very long, but when you got other things you got to do and you're especially job hunting, wait. And then the first one failed. So I hit resend. Now that might have been my boo-boo, not waiting long enough for a text to come in. Well, eventually by the 3rd to 4th one, we got it to go. Then she said, well, you got to walk over here. I had to take a picture of a QR code. I don't know if you've all seen that before, but it's a little box thing on lots of packaging that if you scan with your phone, certain things will come up through the internet. Well, I had to take a picture of this QR code, walk it over to the to this scanner, I'll call it. Before we could even start, the worker, had to put her hands on this big scanner, and it scans her fingerprints to say that she is working with me. Then I put the QR code in, and then you have to take 4 photo shots of you, the person trying to get unemployment. Come now. Has it really gotten to this? I don't do politics, or I keep my politics to myself. That's what I try to do. I try not to be a thorn to somebody else. But this is ridiculous. So when I finally get 4 shots of me, I had to take my hat and glasses off. Hat, I understand, but your glasses, I don't know why. But we go back over to the little cubicle, and we start filling out another bunch of what seemed like useless paperwork. Nothing to ask about my work history. This is what you done. That was on the form. But I finally get to the point where I say, do you want to do direct deposit or do you want to have it somehow else? So I hit direct deposit and I filled in my bank information. Valid information. If you're going to do that kind of deposit, they need to know. But the fact is, though, they tell me that I have to have, I know this ain't their fault. This is the system's fault. I have to have 5 applications by the 1st of June and they all have to have failed. You know, you couldn't get the job before I can get one payment of unemployment. That makes no sense. I've just got laid off and I've tried to get a job. If I would have gotten a job, I wouldn't be at the unemployment office. I would not be there. And to top off all the misery is that you're going through this questionnaire. And I've heard other horror stories of unemployment, and I was ready for this one. But for Kentucky, you have to deliberately, and I know this is a certain freedom of interest. It might work different for somebody else. But when you have to check off a box to say, well, can the government take their whatever percentage of taxes? And the state, they get a cut too, out of your unemployment. I know I'm just a hillbilly. People, I'm sure, call me that somewhere in the world. But I find it amazing that I've paid unemployment, that my company in turn that I used to work for has paid into unemployment. That they're going to now tax me on unemployment. God. Is this real? I had to think about it. Are you serious? Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. They played very good with me, despite my ill attitude about this whole ordeal. They were so nice, and I thanked them for that. Great people. The whole time of allotted, an hour and a half for one case of unemployment. Now, do I expect to get like oodles of money for my unemployment? No, sir. I don't expect to get that much in employment. Because I know unemployment can only pay, let's say, roughly half of what you make. And when you ain't got a big, great paying job to begin with, you're not going to get a whole lot. I totally understand. But the fact is that the government and your state has to take money from a person that is currently not working, is what riles me up so bad. Is this state, this great commonwealth of Kentucky, so hard up for money that it has to take it away from people who are unemployed? Now you may say, Gray Ghost, that's the way it's always been, and you're just a little young whippersnapper and you just learning. I said, you know what, sir? Yes, I am. I also know is that sometimes you can put as much baloney on a piece of paper, but that don't make it right. Now, there's been people who was unfortunate enough not to check those boxes off. And guess what? They eat them alive come the tax time. That's wrong. People, I don't know about your other states of unemployment. I don't know how it is in other countries. But here in the U.S. and Eastern Kentucky, when you find a man that is out of work, he really does, a great part of this country will put themselves to get back into work. And that's all I want. I want to go back to work. Ends all, beat it all. I don't know why, I might be crazy, but I want to go back to work. Feels honorable that way. But but guys, I appreciate any prayers that you can give for me and my family during this time of unemployment. But I just don't understand why the state has to tax you and the federal government has to tax a person who is not working. Call me crazy. But the amount of hoops that it took to get through, just to get to the end and tell you that, you know what, you have to get 5 applications of denial before you can even get 1 payment of unemployment. They have took a very simple concept and turned it into a cluster duck. It is a mess, a complicated, overly complicated mess. Now, I don't like, if I'm not much of a rant person. I deal with my troubles and I take them on and I do my best to make it better or to alter the course of it, negate the damage, whatever you want to call. But I could not, I brood over this. And vote you congressman, or, talk to your congressman, or do this, do that. But in the end, this government stuff does not change. And I've prayed over it too. Well, there comes a time when you have to speak your mind about stuff, and this was my last straw. But I will figure a way out of this, because I am willing to work. There might be a lot of other people who, don't want to, but I do. I feel like it's right. I'm able. My body's still able. I'm still a young man by a lot of standards. I should be out there working to put my own food on the table. But it aggravates me. Why do you need to know my race? As long as I'm working lawfully, I think I'm deserving of some unemployment. I can even see the language barrier. In this day and age, everyone seems to talk everything but English. I rest my case. I've spoke my mind. But everyone, thank you for at least tolerating me for these few minutes of ranting that I've done. I feel better now. But my plan going forward is to still find a job that I can do. I don't have a lot of schooling. I'm a graduate. I'm a high school graduate, that for sure. And I'm just going to keep at it because I know God has got a plan for me. And as crazy as the road is right now, you can't get no unemployment because you've worked. Which, by the way, I need to explain that. As a displaced worker, that program was denied to me. I'm not allowed to be a displaced worker. Why, you may ask? Because I have previously worked. I have worked. And that program is for people who have never worked before. I'm glad they got it. But when I said displaced, I figured that meant that it should be able to qualify for me if it sounds like in the past tense. You used to work at a place, but you no longer do. Oh, man. But see, this is why you got to have faith. We might go to our closet and say, and give God an earful for an hour straight, but at the end of the day, you have to have faith. And I have faith that I'm going to get me another job, and it's going to be on this plan that God's got me on. And I trust that plan, and I will follow through with it. But it had to be said. Why does it take you over an hour and a half of your time for one case of unemployment? One. I've had all the proof I needed for work history. There wasn't nothing to hide. I had pay stubs, anything you want. But they proceed to go through this unnecessary maze. And it was pointless. because you have to have 5 different applications for a job. I don't know if there's that many jobs in my county. Well, you need to move. Maybe I do. Oh, but I'm working on that. But I ask any of you, please try not, if you are feeling worried, do not. I will find a job, and I got the Lord's faith. I know He'll take care of me and my family. But everyone, I don't know if I can say, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you see me watching pulling my hair out and going on a big rant, I'm glad you enjoyed it. But y'all have a great night. And keep praying those prayers because He is listening. And remember, all glory does go to God. Except for the unemployment office. Y'all have a great day. This is Grey Ghost 55 out.